Hey Greyhounds! As we wait for the 4th season of Ted Lasso, let's remember pop culture references and Easter eggs from its first 3 adorable seasons. Season 1, Episode 7, Make Rebecca Great Again. We start with an almost obligatory United Kingdom reference when Coach Ted, in his delightful conversation with his son, mentions going to Liverpool, the famous sports city in northwest England. As Ted says, Liverpool has 2 football teams in the Premier League, Liverpool and Everton, while the city's 3rd team is Tranmere Rovers. The most famous export of the city is probably the Fab Four, a favourite of Ted and his son. And as for the football allegiances of the Beatles, John was apparently too cool to care about football, George was above footballing rivalries, Ringo is reportedly and correctly an Arsenal fan following the footsteps of his stepfather, and Macca, trying to please everyone as always, is supporting both teams, but if it comes down to it, he supports Everton. And no, Rolling Stone guitarist Keith Richards did not kill John and George, as Beard said. Kansas City gets some loving in the form of the background in Ted's MacBook, which features a photo of Bryant's, a Kansas City barbecue joint that we have seen referenced before by the show. And while we're looking at Ted's desktop, it's worth noting that he has only 3 icons and a printer shortcut there. What kind of organized monster doesn't have 50 icons on their desktop? Meanwhile, Rebecca's email looks terribly boring, but there are some interesting observations to make. Okay, maybe not interesting, but you know what I mean. First, congrats on that pun. I even googled to see if it was a real company. And if you don't get it, blooming is a euphemism for bloody, a swear word in British English. Then, Rebecca has 61,185 messages in her inbox and 377 drafts. This is a crime against humanity. Meanwhile, Keely freaking out Rebecca with all the talk about getting it on with her was bloody brilliant. We all thought it was a joke, but given what happened in season 3, maybe cemented a little bit, right? Keely also used an expression I'd never heard before for going to the toilet, which is spend a penny. The phrase goes back to the 19th century when it cost 1 penny to use public toilets for women. Ted wonders if everyone is sad because Beyonce dumped Jay-Z, and as this episode was aired way after Lemonade, my googling did not reveal the power couple being in trouble at that time. I have no idea what Ted might be alluding to. There are several parallels between this episode and the Amsterdam episode in season 3. Firstly, on Hotel TV, this fantastic performance by Keely, which we also see in the Amsterdam episode with a Dutch overdub and a different background. And secondly, the question of the team activity in the evening is raised. Movie night or pillow fight? This time, it's movie night, and the players get to watch The Iron Giant, the lovely 1999 animation that is a cross between E.T. and Lilo and Stitch, and it will absolutely make you cry. In Amsterdam, it was pillow fight, but that's a story for another time. Weirdos Ted and Beard vibe firstly on Ted's room number 5150, which is also the 7th studio album by American rock band Van Halen. It was the first of 4 albums to be recorded with lead singer Sammy Hagar, who replaced original singer David Lee Roth. The album was named after Eddie Van Halen's home studio, in turn named after a California law enforcement term for a mentally unwell person. Secondly, on being neighbors. Howdy neighbor seems to be an inside joke beyond my googling skills, potentially referring to a Judy Garland song of the same name from the old musical Summer Stock. Look at this old-timey poster. I've made thumbnails that look better. We get a glimpse of the players of Everton. They are of course not real Everton players, but rather the last names of the Allied POWs from the classic 1981 football film Escape to Victory, which included Sylvester Stallone, Michael Caine, Pelé, and Bobby Moore among others in its roster. Nate references Carrie Bradshaw's inability to hold on a man in Sex and the City, a reference that of course Ted gets. Please note, the first season of Ted Lasso was before and just like that, so no viewer was traumatized at the time. Also, I have never been in Goodison Park, but there is no way that these are the changing rooms, even for visitors, in a Premier League stadium. At Karaoke, Sam sings Wonderwall, the Oasis song that ends all nights out in the UK, and ticks the Britpop box of the episode. Beard goes for Gaga. Hannah Waddingham is a very talented singer, having a long and successful career in London's West End musical theatre and in Broadway, and has even released her own Christmas album in 2023. Here she gives us a rendition of Let It Go from the first Frozen film, although you don't need me to tell you that everybody knows that song. Even, in my favorite detail of the episode, Roy Kent, who is seen mouthing the lyrics as Rebecca belts it out. I think this was the strongest episode of the season, giving us a bit more background to Rebecca and signaling her transformation from a villain to one of the team. It also lays in the foundation of Nate's mean streak. His insults to the players may have had a positive outcome in this case, but his resentment will resurface and turn him into the villain of season 3. Some straight thoughts before I leave you. Of course Elton John was invited at Rebecca's wedding. Sassy likens Ted to Magnum PI and Malboro Man. And that's it from me for this episode. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking or subscribing. As always, thanks for watching.